Please work. Okay. Bro. I'm actually getting mad. Oh, that's probably why.
Does money equal happiness?
Okay, okay. Alright. Wait. Can y'all hear me? Alright, so you can. Let's start it.
Does money
Okay, before we start, just lock in. I love his channel, Joe Bart. Full philosophy. So y'all need to subscribe to him. Or Joe Bart, just his main channel. He's awesome. We're gonna watch this video, and let's go. This is, does money equal happiness?
Does money equal happiness? A very surface level philosophical question, but when you actually go into it, it gets a lot deeper and brings up a lot of other topics. Something that a lot of people talk about all the time, and a lot of people have varying answers. A lot of people say that money does equal happiness. A lot of people say that it's more of a neutral point, and some say that it actually makes you unhappy. My point...
yeah, it's not like there's no actual truth. This is just a question. I guess, like, there's no real answer. It's just an opinionated question. Just like religion is faith.
My point of view would be that money does not inherently make you happy, but it removes a lot of the burdens of your individual life that can make you unhappy, having to worry about bills or not being able to get food or rent for the month. It helps you not have to worry about those things and enables you to divert your own attention to a lot of the other problems that you may be having in your individual life. The problem with money and happiness is that the majority of people that have a lot of money aren't using it for good needs and aren't using it for its intended use. Money's original historical purpose is to replace the idea of trade. Having to trade wheat for fish and fish for alcohol gets really convoluted because you're trying to figure out the value of a given resource based on labor time and how rare that commodity may be, rather than having a universal functioning material that you can attribute value.
Well, money is like used for a lot more things. It's not trade anymore. It's like everything. If you don't have money, you can't live and survive. Like you can't just Tarzan it out. You can, but that would suck. You know, you have to be homeless. If you don't hunt, like if you live in the city, you're basically not gonna be able to live without money, unless you beg on the streets for money. But that's still having money, because you're not gonna. If you're like in New York, you're not gonna kill a random deer, you know, and get meat. I mean, maybe, but you're not gonna have enough time. It's just you need money. Money is very important. My opinion on this topic, money does bring happiness to a degree. Like it brings happiness. It gives you what you need to have happiness. Well, not what you need to have happiness, but like gives you things that can bring happiness. But those things don't directly bring happiness forever, and not as much happiness as other things like love, friendship, and stuff like that. But having a Lamborghini, yeah, that makes you happy. But it's different than actual happiness. You know what I'm saying?
To given items for that when you sell or trade or buy them, you lose some of that individual thing, something outside of that looped circular trade system, which is money. The problem is that people don't use money for that intended use anymore. They get money for material gain and power. They no longer want money to buy individual things that aid their survival. They want money for the sake of money. Paraphrasing Plato, one of the most known and oldest philosophers as well, he basically says that society uses money as a means to function. It is a tool for trade, and that's its intended purpose. Where things get bad is when people seek...
Well, like, this isn't like old times anymore. Like, new times, people are selfish. Well, more selfish than they were before. You know, like, people are going to buy stuff for them. That's how the world works now. It's like... And you can't do a lot of things without things you have to buy with money that you really don't need.
Money for the sake of seeking it, which was a problem when money first arose and is a much worse problem now. If you're pursuing money in modern times for the sake of affording rent or buying goods like food or water or paying your electricity bill or even something, you know, like going on a vacation, traveling the world, or buying a car as a functional purpose, that's not bad. But there are a select group of people across, you know, different wealth margins that pursue money for the sake of getting more of it. So they're able to...
Well, yeah, that's like just like every business. Like, you need money to start a business. It takes money to make money, usually.
Flex that money on other people and flaunt their wealth for their own person.
Yeah, I hate people that flex. I feel like people that flex are just so annoying. Like, dude, yes, you have money, but someone can get 10 times more rich than you, like that. So, you know, and you can lose all that money in like a couple of seconds.
Enjoyment. They like and feel happiness from having a lot of money. And while those people are happy because they have money, they ruin the rest of the system for everyone else. The people that pursue money for the sake of having money and just also buying absurdly expensive things to flex how much money they do have, whether or not they're spending it or using it, they're still having that money for the same intended purpose. They ruin society because they're using money as a means for power, not a means for trade. And while money is something...
Yeah, I feel like in a degree everybody uses it for not trade, you know? They use it like crypto. That's using money for more money. You know, a lot of people do crypto. Every business guy, they use money to get more money.
Thing that is, you know, giving you purchasing power, it's for the use of trade, not for the use of showing that you have a lot of it. While money does give you power, and the more power you have, the more free you are, one individual uses money as a means for power for their own personal freedom, and the other uses it as a means of freedom to exercise that power over other people. Money inherently creates imbalances because money is a resource, and a resource that we require as a group to have society function. While money itself actually has no value, we attribute value.
Yeah, it doesn't have actual value, you know? Like, you're not gonna, like, well, except for burning stuff, I guess. It doesn't have, like, much value out of society. Like, if society crashes, let's say everything goes to hell, you know, like, all money, you know, meteor, okay? Like, couple thousand people are alive, hid in their bunkers, they get out. Money is not gonna be useful, most likely. Honestly, what's gonna be most useful is gold and materials that actually are used. So, yeah.
To it, which makes it powerful and gives those who have it power. The difference is some societies historically and even now use that money better and have different systems in place to enable those people to not be able to manipulate that system. Places with lower income inequality have a higher happiness rating statistically than countries that have a higher income inequality. Places where there are a lot of rich people and a lot of poor people, and that gap is higher than other countries where it's more close, tend to be unhappier countries. Now it's time to talk about Karl Marx, and this is probably going to upset a lot of people. If you don't know Karl Marx, he created a book about Marxism, which nowadays is usually attributed to communism, but the actual roots of the two are, quite different. And also Karl Marx was from Germany, and a lot of people attribute him to Russian communism. It's a whole thing. I'm going to talk about Karl Marx. I disagree with a lot of the points he has, but keep that in mind that some of the things he says are valid. It's just the way that he attributes them can be, usually attributed to a communist mentality. But I wanted to say that before I get into this because I know people are going to go, oh, Karl Marx! Karl Marx basically says that money hides the value of what it actually represents, which is labor time, which kind of ruins the whole system. He basically believes that the amount of money or purchasing power you should achieve from a given thing should immediately correlate to the amount of time you put into that. Now, he goes very in depth on this. There's whole systems and problems that he kind of, puts forth, and he actually does like some mathematical shit. It's a pain in the ass to read his stuff. I'm not going to lie. I didn't really enjoy it when I read it in college. I haven't read Karl Marx in about 3 years, so I might get a lot of this wrong. My apologies on that. But the thing that Karl Marx tends to not factor in a lot of the time is specialized labor. What I mean by that is money is valued by labor time in a lot of ways. How much you work is attributed to how much you should get paid. The difference, though, is how hard that job may be. How skillful you may need to be to have that job will change the amount of money that you should get. I think many people would agree that a doctor...
That's not true. I don't think. I feel a lot of jobs that can be easy if you have connections, make money. Connections make you a lot of money. A lot of rich people, they just have connections and they're good with scumming people off. It's not a good thing. Don't do that unless you're like a big business. Then you probably want to, dabble in scummy stuff. Just saying.
Working 8 hours should probably make more than somebody working at a cash register at a store, because the requirements and the amount of skill that you need to obtain to have one job comparable to the latter is a lot higher. It's not easy to hold that position of being a doctor comparable to being somebody that works a low requirement minimum wage job. While the one person may be actually working more hours than the other person's job is more skilled and therefore more valued. I also want to say he gets a lot more in depth than that. I very much simplified what he says. It's not like that. There's a fucking big ass book you could read, okay, of what he talks about going in on one individual specific topic. That is me heavily summarizing what he's saying. But a thing that I will agree with what he says is that the value of an individual worker and the productiveness of that worker in a
I just want to say one thing. Don't get mad at me for yapping, because it's yapping is how I don't get copyrighted, and yapping is how I make it my own video. So, I'm gonna yap. It's my video, I do whatever I want, so But But this video would just be him if I didn't yap. You know?
Capitalistic society where you are working to get money is snuffed out. Because if you are, say, a minimum wage worker and you're more productive than those around you, yes, you may get a raise. Yes, you may get a promotion. But the majority of the time, the productive worker isn't actually rewarded by any means. That surplus of value is just passed down to the individual higher up. So that's why a lot of minimum wage workers just fuck around at work, because they know and recognize, like a lot of you guys that work minimum wage jobs, if you put in more effort, you're not going to get a better reward. So the system itself hinders your productiveness because you're not actually rewarded for being a productive member of society. You just have to do the bare minimum, because anything above that, you're still receiving the bare minimum in return. He also says that money transcends the actual good itself. I'm reading my notes here. He basically says that a good or an item is something that people look to achieve, and that's how trade started. You had money as a means to achieve a specific good. I have money because I want to achieve, you know, fucking blueberries or whatever.
Yeah, but also some people just have funny money. Some people have money to achieve. Some people like probably Eminem, you know, like Ronaldo, those big top guys. IShowSpeed, they have funny money. They don't want to save up for a yacht. No, they're probably just like, oh, it's a yacht. Okay, sure. Click, bought off of Amazon or something, you know.
Whatever I'm specifically searching for, or a car. But now people have money as its own good and asset to achieve. Instead of going, I need to work to be able to afford this, people want to work to be able to just get money. No intended purpose from it, just the actual goal of achieving money in itself, which I talked about earlier. He basically says the people that have the market production, the people that are at the top, that are able to call shots, are the ones that control the actual production of goods rather than the worker themselves. And that's bad because it doesn't enable those that are at the bottom to move up within a society, because everything that they do that sets them apart from those that are, you know, less valued doesn't matter, because they're just going to be stuck there forever. The biggest problem that I've been waiting to talk about, and sorry for, you know, getting super off topic. I know the title of the video is Does Money Equal Happiness? But that's just kind of a, you know, a fucking 2-minute conversation. I kind of just wanted to use that as a segue to rant about money. But the biggest problem with money in society, and it's something that all of us are going to fall into at some point, especially as you age and you're able to save money, is the idea of money manipulation. It's one of the worst things that we have that ruins the idea of money in a society in general. What I mean by that is money manipulation, aka stock investments, bonds, fucking treasury bills or treasury bonds,
I literally
being able to buy and hold crypto.
Yo, I didn't yap for a little while. I was zoning out, texting someone. So yeah. Also, put in chat like video suggestions. I've been doing this over stream, so I'm making streams into a video. Also, please comment a way where I can like not put my face, because I don't want my face up there. But I want to have like a cam of me doing something so it makes it my video. You know, like people have face cams. I need something that's not a face cam, but it goes over the video with like a thing. You know? Oh, Banksy, I might watch that later. Okay. I was thinking about doing that later. But let's finish this video. Do you like this video, Banksy? Just asking.
Or investing, you're using money to make money. Instead, it
exactly what I said earlier. You have to have money to make money, pretty much.
Defeats the entire purpose of having money itself. When we were in an early society and you traded goods, as I was talking about, where you have one item and you're trying to derive, you know, 20 wheat equals 1 fish, and then 10 wheat equals an apple, things get really complicated. So you have money that attributes value to each item, and you're able to use those to purchase other things. And the idea is that you work, you create a product, you sell that product for money, use that money to buy things that you need for yourself so you can have specialized labor and don't have to, you know, learn.
Most people don't buy things for what they need, it's just for what they want.
Learn how to do everything yourself and use that money to reinvest.
By the way, I like watching philosophy videos. Anything like, I like reacting to Here are the people I like reacting to mostly. Like the big creators. Tommy and FG. Alright. Joe Bart. I love Joe Bart. Curtis Connor. He's pretty good. Big Tug. Those are like my main four. Mr. Beast. If there's a new Mr. Beast video, of course I want to do that. By the way, I already watched the new Mr. Beast video, so it wouldn't be a true reaction. That's why I didn't do that today. But yeah.
Into your own product. But when people get into higher valued economies, and, I don't want to say capitalistic economies, but a lot of the time, it's every economy in general. When you have really high wealth individuals, instead of using their money to invest in something that is going to give them a return where they're able to output more value for a product, they instead use money to make money by basically investing, holding, and then receiving a return.
And investing's not an evil or bad thing. Investing is just something like you get more money, and that's okay to invest. Like, investing's a smart thing to do, but you gotta know how to invest. And trust me, I'm a 14-year-old. I don't know how to invest. I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. I'm just yapping. So don't take my word for anything, by the way. But yeah.
Turn on that investment instead of actually putting that money into a given market and being able to, flourish an economy or help produce something. They're just holding a percentage of an individual company or coin and waiting for that to go up and pulling it. Now, you could say those investments enable that company to be more productive and, make more products and help the society even more. But that's, its own side argument. My point is that people use money to make money rather than actually putting that money back into the system. Back to what I was originally saying, money is needed. We as a society function in specialized labor, regardless of whether or not you have a college degree or you went to trade school. You're usually having a job for something that you're particular.
Also, chat, sorry, this is like sidetracked a bunch. By the way, I'm just telling you, I'm gonna go to college for soccer, yes, and just to say something else. I feel like college is a smart decision if you're gonna do something with it. If you're not going to go to college and you're going to use that time to make money, start a business, don't go to college. But if you're not going to go to college and use those 4 years to sit on your butt on a couch, go to college. I'm not saying I was at my butt and go on a couch, but I think, first of all, soccer. If I want to do soccer, I have to go to college. I think college is a smart idea. Do business in college, religious philosophy, maybe just philosophy, It seems like a good experience.
Really good at, unless it is a minimum wage job. And even then, you might get really good at it and work your way up in that ladder. And you receive money from that job, and it enables you to purchase things that you don't know how to do or don't need to do. You live in a society where you're able to work a 9-to-5 and then buy food so you don't have to go hunt or farm yourself, and pay for electricity so you don't have to fucking go figure out how to do that yourself or fix your toilet or do any of those things. So money is a needed asset in the economy. It's how we use it that fucks everything up. Not how we use it, how a lot of people use it. I don't want to get into billionaires, but billionaires are in their own class, okay? They're pure money market manipulation individuals. A lot of them do create products, but now they live outside of the businesses that they even own. They don't really function as a citizen in their own country. They're their own country in themselves. Most billionaires are in this weird global elite system where they're able to function in their own, tight-knit group rather than living in an actual society. Previously, billionaires in, like the 1920s, 1910s, were still members of their society. While they were, still money hungry and, hoarding their own, assets, they still did reinvest that a lot of the time into the individual city or state that they live in. A lot of the time now, billionaires compete to gain more money than the other and only interact with each other.
Yeah. Because billionaires' life are probably boring. They don't have much to do. They're going to compete with other billionaires. Because, it's like, not much to do. Might as well do that.
What I was saying about money equaling happiness, I think that money equaling happiness is true if you have money for the purpose of using it to give yourself experience. If you get obsessed with the goal of making money and you have money for the sake of holding money, that money will not breed happiness. Having money does not equal happiness. It's the use of the money that you have that enables you to be happy or not. Obviously, having money does not obviously solve all of the problems that you have, and you still may go through a lot of things even if you spend your money correctly. But the point is that a lot of rich people are very unhappy because they don't use their money in the correct way. They use their money for the sole purpose of making more of it and being better than those around them in a, materialistic world, and they're just going to die fucking 30, 40 years from now, and it was all meaningless in the end. If you ever stumble upon a large amount of money, my advice would be use it to experience life. Don't.
Yeah, I think that's correct. But like, also, if you have a lot, let's say you find millions of dollars, you win the lottery. Yes, enjoy life, but also use that money to make more money. Maybe start a business, start a cool business, maybe a Nike type business, like a shoe business. Actually, probably not do that. Some shoe business is probably gonna fail. Do whatever you want with that money. Make a business, do something, but also live life. Like go to Europe, go to New York, see the cool things in New York. Travel the seas, but also use that money to make more money. I feel like a little bit of both.
Go blow it on a million fucking sports cars and expensive things and expensive houses. Well, obviously, you do need a house and a car to live, especially in the United States a lot of the time. It is not something that is going to give you everlasting, or even a lasting experience. Yes, the car is cool, but it's cooler to go travel the world, see things, meet new people, because those are the experiences and the things that are going to make life enjoyable and actually make you happy. That's all. I don't even know. This video was all over the place. My bad for that. I keep apologizing. This is going to be every fucking philosophy video by now. The title's probably going to divert into a million other topics 90% of it.
And I feel like that's okay for the video. I love that about this guy. This guy talks about so many things, and it's just entertaining,
Time. I hope you know that. Anyways, comment below what the fuck you want me to, talk about next. So whether it be an individual philosopher, a topic, a philosopher's perspective on a topic, whatever it may be, and your own thoughts on whether or not money equals happiness. But yeah, catch you on the next one.
All right, great video. I already liked it. Okay. Well, CM Truckliff signing out. Okay, we're good. That's for the video. I'm not actually signing out. Or whatever. Actually, I might go. Oh, I'm gonna go for today. I'll see y'all later.